JU's men's soccer team features 13 players who originally hail from outside the United States. Having a coach in a similar situation certainly plays a factor.
Well, I think that just allows me to connect a little bit different with other cultures. The fact that I do speak Portuguese, but I also speak Spanish, and just being in Florida generally, you are able to connect with a lot of different cultures that are here in Florida, that are residents here, but they've migrated from different countries. So that's helped a little bit in the sense of being able to recruit different players.
13 of the 25 players are international, but that doesn't mean the coaching staff is racking up the frequent flyer miles.
Well, ironically enough, the Paraguayan player was recruited here in the U.S. The Brazilian players from a company recruited here in the U.S. as well. Colombian players also. The only two that were actually truly internationals were the two Canadian players, which in a sense is an extension of the U.S. because the systems are very similar.
I used to play for a company in Brazil called 2SV, and the company brings students to America to play soccer and other sports. So Mauricio knows the companies, so that he saw my video and recruit me.
Mauricio actually picked me up at a showcase tournament in Toronto, Canada, and so I came here for, I guess, a trial period, and I saw JU and I saw everything that it had to offer. The actual scenery is beautiful, the people here are very nice, and the actual academics part of it, it offered everything that I hoped for. So
I think just once again, the language of soccer just attracts people to be able to play to, and Florida is a melting pot of a lot of different cultures, certainly of Latin American cultures that migrate in here. So we're recruiting anybody that we feel that can give us a chance, regardless of where they're from. We're not putting all of our efforts to go internationally and recruit. Actually, we go internationally very limited. We just tend to attract the players from different countries for an opportunity. And really, the style that we want to play is a more international style. It's a style that attracts a lot of Latin American players.
JU, especially with Coach Mauricio, we try to play a very technical style of play, whereas a lot of other North American teams kind of play bump and run. I feel like we like to pass the ball around and play an attractive style for the fans.
My hometown club, it's very controlled, let's possess the ball and slowly as a team go forward. And Mauricio's team, of course, we embody the same sort of style. We like to keep it controlled. If it's not on, we'll turn back, but there's still that urgency to always score,
This is the style of play I prefer, honestly, I mean, it doesn't really matter in that sense as in what we do, because, I trust my coach wherever I go. If I can't trust my coach, I wouldn't go there. So, I just embraced what he did. It was what I prefer, and so it's been going well so far.
I think the American soccer is long balls and less technique, and I think Mauricio is trying to get this technique and these skills to JU. So I think we are a team that pass the ball a lot, that try to pass fast and try to improve some techniques, and I think that's the difference.
How do so many different cultures and personalities mesh into a cohesive team?
We're always different, listening to different types of music, I guess. The actual personalities, we all somehow have learned to mesh with one another, and you could kind of see on the field, we all embody the same sort of style, even though we're all from different places.
That's the beauty of the team, each country, a lot of different cultures, everybody trying to understand another culture. So all the time people are trying to learn Portuguese and trying to learn some stuff from Brazil, and I'm trying to learn some of the other cultures. So I think that's the beauty of the team.
It's a lot of fun because you do learn a lot from the teammates and from one another. Our coaching staff is pretty diverse also, from just different cultures in different places. It does become challenging at times when you're trying to mesh and you're try to get everyone to fit into one culture and of doing one thing. But it does make for an interesting locker room.
We jab with each other all the time. It keeps us on our toes.
I think it's always a positive vibe in the locker room from day one. Yeah, the guys been really welcoming. It's always good banter from going around different cultures and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a good atmosphere.
The coaching staff has certain rules in place to keep everyone in a team-oriented atmosphere.
We try to keep a rule in our locker room that regardless of where you're from, you have to speak English. right? Because you don't want to excuse anybody out. I mean, you could be about 7 different languages spoken in our locker room at any given point if you allowed it to happen. So it's not that we're trying to close off other, the outside coaches from coming in, but you're trying to, it's in the sense of trying to get everyone to do the same thing, and at least in a locker room, everyone at least should speak the same language so no one feels left out at any given point. And certainly because these are American students, they have to speak English in our locker room. So you see a couple guys, spin off in Spanish and, in their Jamaican native language. But overall, you try to keep everybody feeling pretty comfortable as best as they can. And the American guys, they fit right in. They actually like the fact that they're learning different cultures as well in the process.
How do they deal with the culture change?
Well, honestly, like we watch a lot of American television back home, so a lot of things are very similar. It wasn't that big of an adjustment in terms of like the language and our approaches to stuff. We take a lot from America, so it wasn't a big deal.
With both AG and Sam, they're very close because, of course, when you come to a different place in the world, like the culture is still different, like their style, the way of talking. So you kind of have like an outlet to like communicate with, and HE's also been here for a year, so he kind of knows like about the U.S. culture. So it's been good.
I always try to show people that I'm Brazilian. Like I think being Brazilian, it's part of my concept. So I'm always trying to show where I'm from, that I'm from Rio, that what I like to do in Brazil, that I speak Portuguese because people think that in Brazil we speak Brazilian.
Yeah, there's a Canadian player from last year who we hung out a few times in the summer, and a new one coming in for this year as well. So yeah, we formed a close bond, but everyone's pretty close around the team.
In the end, a love of soccer is the key component to blur all other lines.
The great thing about soccer, it's a universal language. It doesn't matter if you're fluent in English or fluent in Portuguese. Everyone seems like they're on the same page when the balls come out and start knocking about.
I don't think there's any sport that has that much interest from every single international country as soccer does. So I think, there's definitely an European feel to basketball and to women's volleyball, but I think soccer just has a different appeal and a different level of competition, in every other sport.
It's just the love for the sport, the passion. Everyone wants to play, everyone wants to do their best. I mean, just the overall drive to be good and to win brings most people together, I think.